Day 74. The price is easy if the promise is powerful. Again, the price is easy if the promise is powerful. What does that mean? Whatever we're chasing, whatever we're putting effort into, whatever has our attention and our focus and our pursuit, if it is powerful, if the promise of success or achievement is powerful, and really it's not like we're for sure we're going to have achievement in things of this world, but if the hope, a better way to say that might be, if the hope is powerful, then the price to pay is going to be easy, even if it's a large price. And in spiritual terms, like the price to pay of having faith and putting your trust in Jesus, that can seem daunting to a lot of people, albeit it's actually freeing. But it does require us to deny ourselves and to change our life patterns, which it can feel like that's a large price to pay, to turn away from sin and to turn away from our human way of living. That can seem like a lot. That can seem like a big price. But the promise of what is to come, even though it can be uncomfortable, the promise is so powerful. So really, this quote, in my opinion, is better in spiritual terms than healthy living, physical living, or the gym terms. This quote's really spiritual to me. Is the price is easy if the promise is powerful, and the promise that God gives us is so powerful. It's not only powerful, but it's a forever promise. It's an eternal promise. So whatever the price is of denying ourselves and having to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I have to change my life and I'm the one that got me here. Like, that can be so uncomfortable. Again, that can seem like such a large burden to bear. It can be embarrassing to admit that and to turn your ways to something that's not of this world. It can be one that people don't understand, that are friends of yours or that claim to be friends, because they're living of the world, and they see someone that's entirely changing their perspective and entirely changing the way that they're living their life. Again, that price can feel like a lot because it's different than how we've probably been living. But the promise can lead to, and can and will lead to, so much more than what we had planned on our own. So I talked about that in spiritual terms. Let's talk about it just with our life in terms of getting our bodies fit, getting our bodies healthy, eating the right thing, getting enough sleep, avoiding earthly temptation. Like, those things to change those habits when we're addicted to food, or we're addicted to distraction, addicted to our phone, addicted to laziness. The price to change those, it's going to be a big price as well. It's going to be a price that requires a lot of time. It's going to be a price that requires our focus, consistent focus, even when we're not feeling it. It's going to be a price that requires a lot of sweat and a lot of intention and a lot of planning, because life's going to get in the way and you're going to want to go get the quick meal, or go, get the nighttime revelry that you've been used to, or go get the distraction and the immediate gratification of scrolling on your phone. It's a big price to change all of that. And again, it's not the promise that you're going to get fit tomorrow or that you're going to be the healthiest person by the end of the week. But there is so much hope in the journey. There's so much hope in the pursuit of becoming the best version that you possibly can be. And the pursuit and the journey of that is so powerful. Again, I said like maybe a week ago, a handful of videos ago, it's like time's going to pass anyways. Before we know it, we're going to blink our eyes and 2025 is going to be over. And I just guarantee, for myself and for anyone listening, I guarantee that if we said, screw it, but starting today, I am starting over. I'm not going to make excuses. It's not going to be a one-day thing. I'm not going to wait for the perfect moment. I'm not going to wait for when I'm not tired. I'm going to start today to change everything with my pattern of behavior. I'm going to start today getting enough sleep, drinking my water, exercising, getting good sweats, consciously eating obviously digging into the Bible, maintaining a relationship with God above and beyond all, and prioritizing that. And then again, when that time passes, when it's December 31st, and you're sitting there thinking, wow, 2025 was the year that I was finally about it, I guarantee you would be shocked to even think back to February and say, hey, how did I even live like that? I was living so unconsciously. It would probably even disgust you to think about how, you're living. And that's where I was at a point in my life a couple years ago, was like, when you're living in it, it seems normal that you've allowed yourself to stray, or you've allowed human emotions or tendencies or bad habits to take over. But the farther that you get into discipline and the farther that you get into consistency, it gives you this clarity that you can look back and say, wow, I was numb to it when I was in it, but now I see. I can't even believe I was living that way. I can't believe that I was not taking care of my body and my mind and my spirit. So that's the challenge. And the last thing I'll say on that topic is, like, it's often what you do if you're embodying this stuff, like the price is easy and the promise is powerful, you're developing a why. And someone that's strongly connected to a why often is the person that can continue to show up for themselves and continue to be disciplined amidst the chaos of life. I wrote down here in my journal, great adversity develops a stronger why. Great adversity develops a stronger why. Because if you know that you've been through something, like someone, again, I've said this in previous videos, but someone that's been to prison, or someone that has had cancer, or someone that had something awful happen to maybe one of their children, whatever it is, if you've been through a lot of adversity, someone that struggled with finances, or someone that struggled with their weight, whatever the case is, if you can look that into the mirror and overcome, then you have something very important that you can look back on and say, that was heartbreaking, or that was a bad time in my life, and I never want to go back to that. So I am going to continually run, even amidst the distraction and the chaos and the bad days. I am still going to run to what's optimal. I'm still going to run daily into what's best for me. And you can kind of continue that why. Because of that why, and because of what you've been through, that why can just sustain you. So it's those people that have been through something and are clinging to that why, that are willing to pay the price for that promise of whatever it is that you're pursuing that's powerful. So Job chapter 42, verses 1 through 6, it says, Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. You asked, who is that obscures my plans without knowledge? Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said, listen now and I will speak. I will question you and you shall answer me. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. I've shared some similar types of verses, I feel like, this whole week, but I love that. Again, you asked, who is that obscures my plans without knowledge? Surely I spoke of these things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. It's like, maybe we don't know everything, and maybe it does take us learning of others' mistakes and us having trial and error in our own lives, but if we're just willing to admit our wrongdoings and admit that we can pursue more and we can be better for the will that God has for us in our lives, what a beautiful starting point. And it goes on to say again in verse 5 and 6, my ears have heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. That pursuit of God, and having eyes to see and ears to hear him in our life, and to see that play out, and to be in his word, and to be a light for others, that's going to continue to help us develop clarity on, living in what God has for us. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. It's just denying ourselves and living for God. Repenting, just like I said yesterday, is the person that blames others has a long way to go, but the man that blames himself is halfway there. So repent before the Lord. Pursue today being the best version that God made you to be. We know that's going to be a hefty price to pay to live a life for God and to live a life that is good for our mind and our bodies. But I'm willing to pay, I'll pay that price and I'll pay extra because I know the promise is so dang powerful. That's day 74.